Hey guys, Graham here with another Quarantine Quiet Time. Today I want to answer a question that somebody submitted. Great question. You guys have some awesome questions, so feel free to submit those, email, direct message, whatever it is you do. But somebody asked, like, if we believe in Jesus or believe in the stories of the Bible, how do we reconcile that with like a lack of physical evidence or scientific evidence, which is a great question. And I would say probably two things. First, I would say there is a lot of scientific, historical, documented evidence about events that have happened in the Bible. I mean, Jesus is one of the most wrote about person in the history of the world. It's one reason why the four Gospels were compiled and have lasted so long, is because people believed these to be true. They knew that they were true. They were willing to die because they were true. We know that all these places talked about, especially in the New Testament, are real places. Some of them still exist. A lot of times we have trouble getting around the idea that we don't have Jesus's body. You know, if he died, shouldn't we have a body? Even though the story tells us that his body was resurrected, it went up, ascended into heaven. And I guess before I go on, so we know that there is a lot of historical evidence out there. When you read the story of Moses parting the Red Sea, and we find artifacts buried deep below the Red Sea, and when you read about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and we see that when it rained fire down on Sodom and Gomorrah, and we find levels within the clay underneath these old cities of like a burned tar layer, like underneath those, there's tons and tons of historical evidence out there. But now to go on to my second point, yeah, some things are missing. Like, it would be great if we had a body. It would be great if we had the cross. It would be great if we knew where Noah's Ark was and if it had survived. It would be super great. And to that I would say there's a lot of things in life that we have to believe in, even though we can't see them, even though we don't maybe have the physical evidence. One of the people we learn about in school is Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great actually lived well before Jesus. If you read Jewish history, he's actually a big part of Jewish history. We have a lot of historical documentations about Alexander the Great, but we don't have his body. Nobody knows where it is. Nobody knows what happened to it. And there's hundreds, maybe thousands of historical figures we could document that we'd say, hey, we don't have their body, or we don't have any like physical proof that they lived outside of the writings that people did about them. So there's always going to be this little degree of faith with some of those stories, or at least a lot of those stories. And so how we reconcile those things together is we say, hey, there is a lot of evidence. It's not like there's no evidence or there's all the evidence. There's a lot of evidence, but we don't have all of it. And I think part of that is why we describe Christianity as a faith system, that it's a relationship that requires faith, because you can't have faith and knowledge at the same time. If we had absolutely everything, that would be knowledge. So instead, we're not given all the pieces of the puzzle. We're given hope that at some point the puzzle will be completed, and we're being told that we need to have faith, and we're given a lot to go off of. But someday that puzzle will be created fully. So great question. Keep submitting those. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.